Imagine a world where your thoughts are no longer private. Every idea, memory, and secret can be transmitted directly from your mind to another's, instantly, without words. This isn't science fiction, it's a future we're rapidly approaching. The line between your mind and others is blurring, thanks to advances in technology. Are we opening the door to global enlightenment, or unleashing chaos where thoughts become commodities? The most powerful force may soon be our exposed consciousness, an inner world on the brink of being revealed. Picture a near future where the barrier between minds dissolves. Thoughts and emotions flow directly between people, bypassing language and gesture. What was once science fiction is now becoming reality, driven by relentless innovation. In 2014, researchers connected two human minds across continents, India to France, using EEG and transcranial magnetic stimulation. Simple words were transmitted brain to brain, proving direct mental communication is possible. This breakthrough cracked the wall of mental solitude. The age of shared consciousness has begun. Today, mind-to-mind technology is advancing fast. Teams can link brains, solving problems as a collective intelligence. Artists and athletes could share visions and instincts instantly. But as we marvel, we must ask, how do we protect our innermost thoughts from intrusion? The line between connection and violation is razor thin. Are we heading toward enlightenment, or opening Pandora's box of neural hacking and lost privacy? Mind-to-mind communication began in neuroscience labs, decoding the brain's electrical language. EEG and fMRI let us map and interpret neural activity, revealing the patterns behind thoughts and emotions. Machine learning helped translate these patterns into digital signals. Early brain-computer interfaces empowered paralyzed individuals to communicate and control devices with thought alone. These breakthroughs proved our inner signals could be harnessed for meaningful action. The foundation for direct mental communication was laid, one neuron at a time. The next step, sharing thoughts between minds. For years, transmitting thoughts between brains seemed impossible. But technology like transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, made it possible to deliver information directly into the brain. In 2014, researchers achieved the first direct brain-to-brain communication. A participant in India thought of a word, which was encoded and sent to France. TMS pulses induced flashes of light in the receiver's brain, allowing them to decode the message. For the first time, two minds communicated directly. No words, no gestures. Theory became reality. The age of mental connection had truly begun. The 2014 experiment was really the hello world moment for brain-to-brain communication. It was a proof of concept, a demonstration that the fundamental principles were sound. But it was just the beginning. The true revolution would come from expanding this one-to-one connection into a genuine network, a neural internet capable of linking multiple minds together. The next major leap forward came from a project called BrainNet. This ambitious system took the concept to a whole new level, successfully connecting three individuals to collaboratively solve a shared problem. It was the first demonstration of a multi-person, non-invasive, direct brain-to-brain interface for cooperative problem-solving, a true hive mind in its infancy. In the BrainNet experiment, two participants acted as senders. They were shown a Tetris-like game but weren't given the controls to rotate the falling blocks. A third participant, the receiver, could rotate the blocks but couldn't see the full game screen. The senders, looking at the game, had to decide whether to rotate the block or not. They conveyed their decision simply by focusing their gaze on one of two flashing lights, each with a different frequency. An EEG cap recorded their brain's response to the flashing lights, which was then decoded and sent over the internet to the receiver. The receiver in turn experienced these signals as phosphenes induced by TMS, indicating the sender's commands. The system worked with remarkable accuracy. The three-person group was able to successfully play the game, coordinating their actions through thought alone. But BrainNet added another crucial layer to the experiment. After the receiver made a decision based on the sender's input, the senders were then shown the outcome. This allowed them to evaluate the receiver's action and send a second round of feedback, indicating whether the receiver had made the correct choice. This created a true social network, a collaborative loop of information exchange and correction, all happening at the neural level. It was no longer a simple one-way transmission, it was a dynamic, interactive conversation between brains. This breakthrough opened the door to a future of shared cognition that was previously unimaginable. It moved beyond the simple transmission of words to the sharing of complex intentions and collaborative strategies. The implications were honestly profound. Imagine surgical teams where the lead surgeon's experience is neurally transmitted to guide the hands of a junior colleague. Picture engineers and designers brainstorming not in a conference room, but in a shared mental space, manipulating complex three-dimensional models with their collective thoughts. BrainNet and similar systems are the early architecture of this future. The first steps in building a network that could one day link minds across the globe, creating a collective intelligence greater than the sum of its parts. Imagine a world where the barriers to creativity and collaboration just, melt away. Picture a group of musicians, not in a studio filled with instruments, but connected through a neural interface. They don't need sheet music or verbal cues to compose a symphony. Instead, they share melodies and harmonies directly, mind to mind, weaving together intricate musical tapestries in a fluid, instantaneous process. One mind might conceive a soaring string section, another might layer in a complex percussive rhythm, and a third could add a haunting vocal line, all in perfect synchrony. This is the future of collaborative art, a process born from a shared consciousness where individual inspiration merges into a collective masterpiece, a symphony of minds playing in perfect silent harmony. This revolution in creation really extends far beyond just the realm of music. Think of architects and engineers designing the cities of tomorrow. Instead of relying on blueprints and digital models on a screen, they could step into a shared mental workspace. Here, they could collectively visualize and manipulate entire structures with their thoughts, feeling the stress points of a bridge or walking through the hallways of a skyscraper before a single foundation is even laid. Problems in design could be identified and solved in an instant, as the expertise and perspective of the entire team are brought to bear on the challenge simultaneously. This isn't just a more efficient way to work, it's a fundamentally new paradigm of innovation, one that could accelerate our technological and architectural progress beyond our wildest dreams. Even the solitary act of scientific discovery could be transformed into a collaborative endeavor of unprecedented scale. Consider a global network of researchers tackling a problem as complex as curing cancer or understanding dark matter. Linked by a neural internet, they could share vast data sets, complex hypotheses, and sudden flashes of insight without the delay of publication or communication. A breakthrough made by a scientist in Tokyo could be instantly understood and built upon by a colleague in Berlin, creating a seamless 24/7 cycle of discovery. This cognitive fusion could allow humanity to solve its greatest challenges at a speed we can currently only fantasize about, turning the global scientific community into a single super-intelligent problem-solving entity. The promise of this connection is the promise of synergy on a scale never before seen. It's about more than just speeding up existing processes, it's about enabling forms of creation and problem-solving that are impossible for isolated minds. When thoughts can be intertwined, when expertise can be shared as easily as a file is downloaded today, the potential for human achievement becomes, well, pretty much limitless. We could build more beautiful art, design more sustainable cities, and unlock the deepest secrets of the universe, not as individuals working in parallel, but as a truly integrated and collaborative species. The promise is a future where the whole of humanity is truly greater than the sum of its parts, a renaissance of creativity and intellect. Beyond the practical applications in science and art lies a more profound and deeply human promise, the potential to finally bridge the empathetic divide that separates us. For all our attempts to understand one another through language, art, and storytelling, we remain fundamentally trapped within the confines of our own subjective experience. We can sympathize with another's pain, but we cannot truly feel it. We can listen to their joy, but we cannot experience it as our own. Neural interfaces, honestly, offer the radical possibility of changing this, of creating what could be called an empathy engine. Imagine being able to genuinely share an emotional state with a loved one, to understand their sorrow or their happiness not through words, but by directly experiencing it alongside them. This technology could revolutionize therapy and mental health care. A therapist could gain a level of insight into a patient's struggles that is currently impossible, feeling the contours of their anxiety or the weight of their depression. This shared experience would not be about diagnosis from a distance, but about a deep, resonant understanding that could form the basis for more effective healing. For those suffering from conditions that are notoriously difficult to describe, like chronic pain or severe trauma, this could be a lifeline. It would offer them a way to finally make their invisible suffering visible and truly felt by those trying to help, ending the profound isolation that so often accompanies these struggles and fostering a new kind of compassionate care. The societal implications of such a deep, shared empathy are honestly staggering. Consider its potential in conflict resolution. Imagine world leaders, before making decisions that could lead to war, being able to neurally connect with citizens on the opposing side. They could experience the fear of a family living in a potential war zone, or feel the hope for peace from the perspective of an ordinary person. Misunderstandings fueled by propaganda and cultural divides could dissolve in the face of raw, shared human experience. Disputes that seem intractable when debated through political rhetoric might find simple, humane solutions when filtered through a lens of genuine, technologically enabled empathy. It could fundamentally change the nature of diplomacy, moving it from negotiation to mutual understanding. Ultimately, the promise is a kinder, more connected world. A world where prejudice and bigotry struggle to survive because it is difficult to hate someone whose life you have, in a very real sense, lived. This technology could force us to confront our common humanity in a way that is unavoidable and deeply personal. It could teach us compassion not as an abstract virtue to be learned, but as a concrete experience to be felt. By allowing us to walk a mile in another person's neural pathways, we might finally build a global society founded not on tolerance, but on a profound and unshakable sense of shared identity and mutual care. The empathy engine promises not just to connect our minds, but to connect our hearts. In the high-stakes arena of military operations, the promise of mind-to-mind communication is one of unparalleled advantage and enhanced safety. Imagine a squad of soldiers moving through a hostile urban environment. They are connected by a neural link, a silent and instantaneous communication network. The soldier at the point position sees a threat around a corner. Instantly, that visual information, along with the accompanying feeling of alarm and a tactical plan, is transmitted to the entire squad. There is no need for hand signals that can be missed or radio chatter that can be intercepted. The team moves as a single, coordinated entity, responding to threats with a speed and synergy that is impossible with current technology. This is the promise of enhanced situational awareness, a shared consciousness on the battlefield. This technology could extend beyond human-to-human connection, creating a seamless interface between soldier and machine. A pilot flying a next-generation fighter jet would no longer need to rely on complex controls and heads-up displays. The aircraft would respond directly to their thoughts, executing complex maneuvers with the speed of intention. Similarly, a soldier could control a fleet of drones, seeing through their sensors as if they were their own eyes, and directing their actions with a simple thought. This fusion of human intuition and machine precision would create a formidable force, reducing the cognitive load on personnel and allowing them to make faster, more effective decisions in life-or-death situations, potentially saving the lives of both soldiers and civilians caught in the crossfire. Beyond active combat, the potential for defense and intelligence gathering is immense. Analysts could sift through massive streams of data, their minds linked to powerful AI systems that help them identify patterns and threats in real time. The slow process of compiling reports and briefing commanders could be replaced by a direct transfer of critical intelligence, ensuring that decision-makers have the most current and complete picture of a developing situation. This could mean the difference between preventing a terrorist attack and reacting to its aftermath. The promise is a more proactive and intelligent defense network, one that can anticipate and neutralize threats before they escalate, making the world a safer place through superior information and coordination. Furthermore, this technology holds the promise of reducing casualties. By enabling more precise and coordinated actions, it could minimize the risk to military personnel. Remote operations, where soldiers control robotic avatars from a safe distance, could become the norm, removing them from harm's way altogether. The ability to share tactical information instantly could prevent friendly fire incidents and help teams navigate dangerous terrain more safely. While the military applications of neural interfaces raise profound ethical questions, the promise from a defense perspective is clear: to create a smarter, faster, and more synchronized force that can achieve its objectives with greater efficiency and, most importantly, with less loss of human life on all sides of a conflict. The promise of neural connection extends into the very fabric of our society, offering to mend what is broken, enhance how we grow, and redefine what we can become. For individuals with disabilities, this technology is not just an enhancement, it is a key to a new world of participation and freedom. Imagine a person with locked-in syndrome, their mind sharp but their body unresponsive, being able to communicate their thoughts and emotions effortlessly with their family. Consider someone who has lost a limb feeling the sensation of touch again through a prosthetic that is neurally integrated with their brain. This is a promise of restoration, of giving back what was lost and breaking down the barriers that have led to isolation and dependence for so many people. The field of education could be completely transformed, moving beyond the one-size-fits-all model of today. A teacher could connect with their students on a neural level, understanding instantly when a concept is not being grasped and tailoring their explanation in real time to the student's unique way of thinking. Complex subjects like advanced mathematics or theoretical physics could be taught not through abstract equations on a blackboard, but through the direct transmission of conceptual understanding. Learning could become a more intuitive, personalized, and profoundly effective process, unlocking the full intellectual potential of every child and creating a more knowledgeable and capable future generation, ready to tackle the challenges of their time. This promise also touches the deepest aspects of our spiritual and existential lives. As we age, we face the prospect of our minds fading, our memories fraying. Neural interfaces could offer a way to preserve our life's experiences, to share our wisdom with future generations not just through stories but through the living tapestry of our memories. It could also offer profound comfort at the end of life, allowing us to feel a deep connection with our loved ones, transcending the limitations of a failing body. This technology could change how we view life, death, and legacy, offering a form of continuity that blurs the lines between individual existence and the collective human story, a kind of digital immortality. Ultimately, the grandest promise of neural connection is one of societal transcendence. When empathy is a shared experience, when knowledge is a collective resource, and when collaboration is seamless, the very nature of society will change. We might see a dramatic reduction in crime, poverty, and inequality, as the root causes are better understood and addressed through a collective will. We could evolve from a collection of competing individuals into a more cohesive, super-intelligent organism capable of managing our planet and exploring the cosmos with a unified purpose. This is the most audacious promise of all, that by connecting our minds, we can elevate our humanity and begin the next chapter of our evolution, not as individuals, but as one. In our praise for the promise of connection, we must confront a chilling and unavoidable truth. A door that opens to let thoughts out can also be a door that lets intruders in. The very technology that promises to link us together in unprecedented harmony also creates a vulnerability of terrifying proportions. It exposes the last sacred sanctuary of the self, the human mind. For all of history, no matter how oppressed or controlled our bodies have been, our thoughts have remained our own. This inner kingdom was the one place we could retreat to, a realm of absolute freedom and privacy. But in a world of neural interfaces, this final bastion crumbles. The very concept of privacy, a right we have fought for centuries to protect, could become utterly meaningless. Imagine a future where your every passing thought is logged, categorized, and stored on a server. Your political leanings, your secret doubts, your unspoken attractions, your financial anxieties, all become data points in a vast searchable database. Corporations could use this information to create advertisements so perfectly tailored to your subconscious desires that they are impossible to resist. Insurance companies could adjust your premiums based on your private thoughts about risky behaviors. Potential employers could screen your mind for signs of disloyalty or dissent before even offering you an interview. The right to remain silent would no longer exist because silence would no longer be possible. Your mind would become an open book, read by anyone with the right access. This erosion of privacy goes far beyond the commercial. It strikes at the heart of our social and personal relationships. How would friendships survive if you could never hide a fleeting moment of annoyance or jealousy? How could love blossom if your partner could perceive every doubt or insecurity that crosses your mind? The small white lies and unspoken truths that lubricate our daily interactions would be stripped away, leaving only the raw, unfiltered, and often contradictory flow of consciousness. This forced transparency could lead not to greater honesty, but to a new kind of social paralysis, where people become afraid to think freely for fear of being judged, misunderstood, or ostracized for thoughts they can no longer control. The very notion of individuality is threatened. Our sense of self is built upon the foundation of a private inner life, a space where we can form our own opinions, wrestle with our beliefs, and define who we are without external pressure. If that space is invaded, if our thoughts are constantly exposed to the scrutiny of others, do we ever truly form an authentic self? Or do we instead begin to curate our thoughts, performing for an invisible audience even inside our own heads? The peril is that we would lose not just our privacy but the very capacity to be individuals, becoming instead polished, public-facing versions of ourselves, even in the deepest recesses of our own minds. As we build the infrastructure for a neural internet, we are also creating the attack vectors for a new and terrifying form of crime: neural hacking. The same channels that transmit shared symphonies and scientific breakthroughs can also carry malicious code. A hacker would no longer need to steal your password to ruin your life. They could steal your very memories. Imagine a criminal accessing your most cherished childhood moments and holding them for ransom, or a corporate spy stealing a trade secret directly from the mind of an inventor. This is a violation more intimate and devastating than any physical assault. It is a burglary of the soul, a theft of the experiences that make you who you are, leaving you violated in the one place you thought was safe. The threat extends beyond mere theft. Malicious actors could actively alter your perceptions and memories. Imagine a world where a hacker could plant a false memory in your mind, making you believe you committed a crime you never did. They could subtly alter your feelings about a person, turning love into suspicion or trust into fear. This is the peril of brainwashing made real, a weapon of psychological warfare that could be deployed against individuals or entire populations. Political dissidents could be re-educated by having their rebellious thoughts overwritten. Witnesses to crimes could have their memories erased or changed, making justice impossible to achieve. The reliability of our own minds would be forever in doubt. The most insidious form of neural hacking might not be dramatic or obvious. It could be a slow, subtle manipulation of your desires and decisions. A hacker could introduce a persistent, low-level anxiety that can only be soothed by buying a certain product. They could amplify your insecurities to make you more susceptible to a political ideology. This type of attack would be almost impossible to detect. You would believe these thoughts and feelings were your own, never knowing that an external force was pulling the strings of your consciousness. Free will would become an illusion, your choices guided by a hidden puppeteer who has gained access to the operating system of your brain. Protecting against such threats presents an unprecedented challenge. How do you build a firewall for the mind? What kind of antivirus software can detect a malicious thought? The security protocols required would be infinitely more complex than anything we have today. A single flaw, a single vulnerability in the system, could lead to a catastrophe of personal identity. Before we rush to connect our minds, we must face the terrifying possibility that we are building the ultimate prison, one where the walls are our own skulls, and the warden is a hacker who can rewrite our reality with a few lines of code. The peril is not just losing our data, but losing ourselves. The peril of a vulnerable mind extends far beyond individual criminals. It scales up to the level of governments and powerful institutions. An authoritarian regime armed with neural interface technology would possess the ultimate tool of social control. Dissent could be extinguished before it even begins. The state could monitor the thoughts of its citizens, flagging anyone who harbors subversive or rebellious ideas. These thought crimes, once the stuff of Orwellian fiction, would become a prosecutable offense. The very act of questioning authority could lead to your arrest, your re-education, or your silent removal from society. The fight for freedom would be over before it could even be conceived. This control need not be overtly brutal. It could be subtle, pervasive, and far more effective. Imagine a government that doesn't just punish dissent but prevents it from ever arising. By subtly manipulating the flow of information and emotion on a national neural network, a regime could foster a state of blissful ignorance and artificial patriotism. They could dampen feelings of discontent and amplify feelings of national pride. The population would be kept happy, placid, and compliant, not through force, but through a carefully engineered collective consciousness. It would be a society without strife, but also without freedom, without progress, and without truth. A gilded cage for the mind. This power would not be limited to authoritarian states. Even in democratic societies, the potential for misuse is profound. Political campaigns could move beyond targeted ads and into the realm of direct emotional manipulation. A candidate could broadcast feelings of hope and security to potential voters, while projecting fear and distrust towards their opponent. Elections could be won not on the basis of policy and debate, but on who has the more effective neural marketing team.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future ideas that challenge us to think outside the box. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, and don't forget to always maintain that curiosity that drives progress. Also, explore even more fascinating content on our channel. From life-changing tips and cutting-edge technology, to the mysteries of spirituality, travel to various countries, delicious recipes, health hacks, and language learning, there's something here to spark your curiosity and elevate your life. Dive in and discover a world of knowledge awaits us.